Good morning, everybody. This week's weekly video coming at you, and this week it's all about the little things. It's about those little sort of edges of the plans that we have together that maybe you can cut some corners, maybe you can follow the plan at 100%. Doesn't matter. Do the little things matter? What's it sort of add up to in the long term? Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to watch the video, I'll give you the rundown right now. The little things do matter, and it all comes down to our friend, balance. So, what are we talking about the little things? Well, those little sort of tasks where, let's say you've put in a good week's effort, you're in the program, you're really enjoying everything, you're enjoying the training, you're enjoying the accountability of the nutrition, you're enjoying that structure and the routine, you're getting some good results. And invariably, we'll all come to a point where we start to question whether, doing everything at 100% is necessary, or maybe we could get away with doing things at 99%. I know I've sure been there before, believe me, I've been there many times, and it's often hard to distinguish whether the little things really do count or whether we're sort of overthinking everything and maybe being a little bit too strict, and maybe we need to just enjoy life a bit more. So look, I'm going to throw it back to you, and like I said, spoiler alert, the little things do matter, and it all comes down to balance. But let's have a look at some of those little things. So I've just had a bit of a Google search for a couple of little things, and I think that a big thing for me personally, if we spoke about the little things, let's talk about the little things in regards to nutrition, because that's probably the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with. Am I going to be following the nutrition at 100%? Am I going to be following at 99%, 50%? Where's my sort of happy spot that I want to be? A big thing for me has always been putting some skim milk in a coffee. It's a big one. I do struggle having black coffees, and a little bit of skim milk always goes down well. So let's say I was putting in 30 ml of skim milk into a coffee each day. I was doing it for 2 coffees. So 2 coffees each day, 30 ml of skim milk. Not much. I mean, it really isn't. You wouldn't really notice it over a day. Over the whole year, that's about 10,000 extra calories. It's quite a bit, isn't it? Now, remember, 1 kilo of body fat has about 7,700 calories, just roughly. So by putting 30 ml of skim milk into my coffee twice a day, I'm adding 10,000 calories. So that's quite a bit. That's more than a kilo of body fat in terms of energy that I'm adding into my system. Also, when I have my rice cakes, it can be hard to just have the right amount of rice cakes. Sometimes if I've got a chopped banana on there or maybe some honey on the teller, tell you what, I'm woofing those babies down like there's no tomorrow. So let's say I have one extra rice cake, just one extra rice cake per day. The big ones, 7 gram or 9 gram, that's about 12,000 extra calories across the year. It's quite a bit, isn't it? It's starting to add up. So now if we combine those two totals, and we said you're adding some skim milk to 2 of your coffees each day, you're having 1 extra rice cake a day. It's not much, is it? It's actually pretty pathetic when I talk about it, like how small it is each day in terms of going over what you would like to be sticking to in terms of your nutrition. So we're talking 22,995 calories, nearly 23,000 calories. That's jumped up quick, hasn't it? We're talking almost 3 kilos worth of body fat in extra energy that you're taking in by just not following the plans at 100% and just having those little extras. So for me, putting a bit of skim milk into a coffee, having that 1 rice cake a day, and I have to work off nearly 3 kilos of body fat extra per year. Now, what does it actually mean to work off 3 kilos of body fat? Let's just say that, I need to do extra work above and beyond what I'm already doing. Again, I've done some math. So if we're talking vigorous bike riding, we're talking, it's almost sub-maximal bike riding, that type of bike riding that we all hate, that's painful, that hurts, that we really can't do for a long period of time. That's about 850 calories an hour if you're going really, really hard and you're absolutely pushing at 850 calories an hour. So you would need to do 27 hours extra per year of really intense, vigorous cardio on a spin bike to work off that 60 ml of skim milk and that extra rice cake. It's about 30 minutes a week of intense bike riding. If we were to walk on a treadmill at about 5.5 k's an hour, so it's a fairly decent pace, we're probably going to go through about 260 calories an hour. So that's 88 hours of walking extra that we would need to do to work off that bit of extra food that we're taking in, or 24 minutes of fairly intense walking each day to work that off. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? And lastly, leg training, our favorite leg training. It's very difficult. We burn a lot of calories going through leg training. Ballpark sort of figure, 90 kilo male, 700 calories an hour, just a ballpark sort of figure. You need to do 32 hours per year extra of leg training just to work off the 60 ml of skim milk, the one extra rice cake. That's 37 minutes of extra leg training per week. Pretty crazy, isn't it? It's pretty amazing how quickly the calories start to catch up. And it's one of those things that probably surprises a lot of people, just how hard we need to work off the extra energy that we may take in, and also how those little things can start to creep up and they can really start to add up across the year. Now, where does this all sort of sit if you're in a Schembri PT program? Balance, of course, it's about balance. You may be happier in life having your 60 ml of milk, skim milk in your coffee each day and having your rice cake. That may be, what you're prepared to sort of sacrifice in terms of maybe overall results so that your day-to-day life is more pleasurable. And, if that's really where you sit, if that's what you're comfortable with, then there's no problem at all, because at the end of the day, we want to try to keep up the consistency and the accountability in the long term. And if, a little bit of skim milk and an extra rice cake, it keeps you in the game, pretty much 99% in the game, then that is the right answer for you. But of course, we're about, performance here at Schembri PT. We're about, having maintainable and sustainable plans in the long term. We're about performance. We all want good results. There's no question about it. So then I guess the big question comes in, how does all these little extras, how does it affect someone who really does want to get the maximum out of their time with Schembri PT, out of their training, out of their nutrition? They're looking at that really top end. Well, on a day-to-day basis, it's not the end of the world. Sure, you could, do a bit of extra work each day and you could offset the amount of calories there, like we've just described. There is quite a bit of work to offset those extra calories, but it can be done. The biggest thing that I find probably, or for myself, has been a problem when I've been trying to be very, very strict in terms of just following the overall planning. Strict because I want to be strict, not because anyone's telling me, but I want the results and I'm happy with the balance. I'm happy to have some sacrifices. I'm happy to work hard to get the results that I'm after. There's no problem for me. For me, that's my balance. The problem is it's very, very hard to really judge just how much those little extras add up over time. And in terms of mindset, it can be a very bad, let's say, I like to think of it, I guess, as pollution for your mindset. Because the difference between following a plan at 100% and giving your maximum effort because you want to, and doing it at 99%, it's actually quite a big fundamental difference. It's a big mindset shift, and it does start to open the door for complacency to come in. Now, again, I don't want you to think Luke said I can't have my skim milk with my coffee and I've got to do this and I've got to do this and everything's got to be perfect or I'm wasting my time. Remember, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just talking about if you want to get the maximum out of your plans and you're willing to put in the maximum amount of effort, and that's all balanced for you and it all works out in the long term, then I'm talking to you right now. Where complacency creeps in is because all of a sudden now we've added some skim milk to our coffees. We've taken an extra rice cake. So we're not following the plans at 100%. Might not seem like much and we might get away with it for a week, 2 weeks, even a month, where that's all we've kept it to. There's that little bit of extra energy coming in from the skim milk, from the rice cake, but we've got everything under control. We're cool. We're surviving. We've kept it to that. You know what? Dieting's not that hard. I can add in a little extra here or there. And I'm going to go now from, my 2 coffees with skim milk, my rice cake. I'm going to have half an apple as well. It's half an apple. Like, what's it matter? Honestly, I'm cool with that. I'm keeping it there. No problems. Honestly, that's it. That's where it's staying. Some skim milk, in some coffee, an extra rice cake, half an apple. And I'll tell you what, that Nutella that Luke's given me in my shake at night, I know it's only 1 tablespoon, but I'm just going to go like 1.25 tablespoons. I'm going to keep it at a quarter. It's not going up. I'm keeping it there. I promise, I'm keeping it there. So skim milk in 2 coffees, 1 rice cake, half an apple, tiny bit of extra Nutella, and my chicken breast is getting really, really dry. I'm gonna marinate it overnight in a barbecue sauce. Look, I know it's not perfect, but that's it. I'm keeping it there. I'm keeping it there. It's not getting out of control. So we can see how we can open the door for complacency by not following plans at 100%. And again, this is for the people who want to be following the plans at 100%. If your happy balance is having your skim milk, having your rice cake, having your half an apple, and you're happy that maybe you're not getting the results that you particularly wanted, but it's all balanced, it's keeping you in the gym, it's keeping you training, it's keeping you active, beautiful. You're killing it, you really are. But for the other people who want to get the most out of the plans because they're choosing to, once again, free will, no one's forcing them to, then that mindset difference between following the plans perfectly and at 99%, it is big. It is big. Fundamentally, it's a big shift. And we need to be aware of this big shift and how it can affect things down the line. And what I mean by that is you need to be doing your physical exercise every day. We've already all agreed on that with our previous videos, how important it is. As long as we're putting food in our mouth for the rest of our days on this planet, we need to be responsible for what's going into our body. No one else is going to be responsible, only we are. So it comes down to balance. It comes down to where that happy medium is between keeping you active each day, keeping you accountable for your nutrition, and also the results that we're after. What do we want to get out of this? How much effort are we willing to put in? How much sacrifice are we willing to put in? What do we want to get back out of it? And I think this is where it's very important to be very clear about what your actual goals are. If you are looking to clean things up a little bit with your nutrition, incorporate some physical exercise, and for you, that's a really big step and that's a really big improvement of your life, that is fantastic. That's great. So you want to have your milk with your coffee, you want to have your rice cakes, no problems. That's fine. We just need to remember that it takes a very disciplined person to follow a meal plan, not at 100%, make some changes, even with their training. We could extend this to training. It could be that you're doing your leg session and there's 15 reps in the leg press exercise and you're hitting 12 reps and you're absolutely stuffed and you're sort of finishing around 13 to 14 reps. So you're not doing that last rep or two. That's another case of where the little things can start to add up very, very quickly, because 1 rep here or there per exercise, maybe a few reps across a session, a few sessions across a week, a few weeks across a month, a few months across a year, and we start to have a big difference. And I think it's important to identify that this can be an area where complacency can slip in, extra calories can slip in, and your overall work output can decrease because you just start letting things creep in that may or may not be in the plan. And you need to really have a strong mindset and say, you know what, this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for me to exercise in the long term. It's not going to be easy for me to be accountable and be responsible for my nutrition in the long term. It's going to be very difficult. And if I allow these little changes to creep in, potentially it's going to plant the seed of complacency. And before I know it, I'm going to be doing a very different program to what's actually written in front of me. What I'm actually executing compared to what I'm given, they're not going to marry up and they're not going to be even. So we just need to have a think about what we're doing and why we're doing it. We've got to remember, we're doing this for our overall health. We're doing this because we're tied to our bodies physically for the rest of our days here. We're doing this because we want to improve our appearance. We want to improve our self-confidence. We want to improve our strength. It's a challenge. It's a sacrifice. It's not easy. And you need to be aware that there's always different ways to approach the work that's given to you. There's different mindsets. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that whatever works for you, it's balanced in the long term. You're not throwing in that rice cake right now because you know that, I'm going to be happy having that extra rice cake, but tomorrow I'm going to make it 2 rice cakes and then 3 and then 4. So you kind of know, you're kind of reaching for that extra little bit of food, but it's not going to be the best thing for you. You know that if you stop an exercise 1 or 2 reps short, that it's making today easier, and probably you're going to try to do it again tomorrow, and then it's going to creep into a few reps, and then it's going to creep into a whole set, and then I'm going to be skipping exercises I don't want to do, and then I'm going to be skipping leg day, and then I'm not going to the gym at all. So you can see it spirals out of control. Remember, everybody, it is difficult to look after yourself. It is difficult to look after yourself in this day and age because there's so many temptations around. You don't need particularly good health to get through in 2019. Mobile phones, with computers, with aeroplanes, with cars, we can survive being very unhealthy and there's no problem at all. And it can make it very easy for this complacency to slip in because we can think, why am I doing everything at 100%? You know, I could have that milk and that coffee and I'm probably going to get away with it today, probably going to get away with it tomorrow. However, if we multiply that by the whole year and then we factor in the potential for other inconsistencies to creep in, we can see that there is a very, very big mindset shift between following plans at 100% and following them at 99%. So like I said, the little things do matter and it all comes down to balance. It really does. At the end of the day, you want to be exercising for a long time and you want to be responsible for your nutrition for a long time. If adding an extra rice cake or a bit of skim milk is going to get you across the line and you can leave it at that, then that's a pretty good answer for you. That's probably the way to go. However, most people cannot break the plan one way or another long term without complacency slipping in and without the end result being that the programming that they're actually completing looks quite different from what we're giving you to complete each week. So food for thought. I don't want you to leave this video and thinking, Luke said I've got to be 100% strict. I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm just keeping it real. You put that extra bit of food in your mouth, your body's going to have to deal with it one way or another. You cut your workout a few reps short here or there, or you take 10 minutes off your cardio at the end of a session. You get away with it for a session or two, a week or two, a month or two, but eventually it's going to creep up. So we need to be responsible. We need to be accountable. We need to remember we want to be doing this for a long time. The only way that's going to happen is if we keep everything in balance. So we need to make sure we've got time to go to work. We've got time to spend with our family. We've got time for relationships. We've got time for the work in the program. Little things can result in a big difference in the long term, and so we just need to be aware of that as well. All right, guys, that's the weekly video. Hopefully it's been helpful. A bit of a long one today. Any questions, as always, shoot them through. Always happy to help.